Welcome to True Life Lessons. Today we explore the incredible journey of Daniel, a young man who built an empire from dust. Daniel grew up in a very poor neighborhood where survival was a daily struggle and dreams felt like a distant, impossible luxury. At just 16 years old, he discovered his true passion for woodworking, finding solace in the smell of fresh pine and sawdust. He possessed nothing but a few rusty tools and an unyielding desire to change his difficult circumstances through sheer hard work every day. Every morning, long before the sun even dared to rise, Daniel was already awake, carefully carving intricate details into rough wooden blocks. His hands were covered in painful blisters and deep calluses, yet he never once complained about the physical toll of his craft. While his friends spent their evenings relaxing or partying, Daniel sat under a dim lamp, studying complex furniture designs until midnight struck. He knocked on countless doors, presenting his modest creations to local shop owners, hoping someone would finally recognize his raw, undeniable talent. Rejection was a frequent visitor, but each harsh no only fueled his intense, burning ambition to become the absolute best carpenter around. Slowly but surely, people began to notice the exceptional quality and unique craftsmanship that Daniel poured into every single piece he made. His very first major commission was a massive oak dining table, a project that demanded weeks of relentless focus and absolute precision. When he delivered that magnificent table, the client was absolutely mesmerized, immediately recommending Daniel to wealthy friends across the entire bustling city. Orders started pouring in faster than he could handle alone, forcing him to hire assistants and rent a much larger workshop space. Within 5 short years, his small, dusty bench had miraculously transformed into a massive production facility employing dozens of highly skilled workers. Daniel was no longer the poor boy from the slums. He was now a highly respected entrepreneur, enjoying a life of luxury. He bought a beautiful mansion, drove expensive sports cars, and wore custom-tailored suits that screamed success to everyone who saw him. High society welcomed him with open arms, inviting him to exclusive galas where he proudly shared his inspiring rags to riches story. His brand became synonymous with elite luxury, and magazines featured his face on their glossy covers as a symbol of modern triumph. However, the intoxicating, sweet taste of success slowly began to poison his previously unbreakable work ethic and deeply ingrained sense of discipline. The man who once woke up before dawn now found himself sleeping in late, completely ignoring the morning alarms he once cherished. He stopped visiting the noisy workshop floor, preferring the quiet comfort of his plush corner office over the familiar scent of sawdust. Daniel no longer inspected the final products himself, blindly trusting his managers while he spent his afternoons relaxing at expensive coffee shops. He arrogantly believed that his established reputation was completely bulletproof, assuming clients would blindly buy anything simply because it bore his name. Innovation completely stopped in his company as he stubbornly recycled old designs, convinced that he had already achieved the pinnacle of perfection. He stopped learning, stopped experimenting, and stopped caring about the tiny, crucial details that had originally made his furniture so incredibly special. Meanwhile, the harsh reality of the competitive market was quietly shifting, while Daniel remained comfortably numb in his self-made golden bubble. Young, hungry competitors were rapidly emerging from the shadows, bringing fresh, modern designs and a fierce, burning passion to the woodworking industry. These new artisans worked exactly like the old Daniel, pouring their hearts and souls into every single piece of wood they touched. Customers quickly noticed the declining quality of Daniel's products, pointing out sloppy joints, uneven finishes, and a distinct lack of artistic soul. Negative reviews began to pile up online, slowly tarnishing the golden reputation he had spent years bleeding and sweating to build up. Loyal clients started cancelling their massive orders, choosing instead to support the passionate young workshops that offered better quality and fresh ideas. Initially, Daniel dismissed these lost sales as a minor temporary setback, completely refusing to accept any personal responsibility for the noticeable decline. He angrily blamed the economy, his ungrateful workers, and changing consumer tastes, completely blind to his own devastating laziness and immense arrogance. But the financial numbers did not lie, and within a few months, his company's revenue had shockingly plummeted by more than half. Panic finally set in when his chief accountant delivered the grim news that the factory was dangerously close to declaring total bankruptcy. He was forced to lay off dozens of loyal employees, watching their heartbroken faces as they packed up their tools and left. The massive, bustling workshop that was once filled with joyful noise now echoed with a haunting, depressing silence that pierced his soul. Desperate and terrified, Daniel tried to secure emergency bank loans, but investors saw right through his empty promises and firmly rejected him. His luxurious mansion was soon mortgaged, and his expensive sports cars were quickly repossessed to pay off the massive, rapidly mounting debts. Standing alone in his nearly empty factory, Daniel finally realized the terrifying truth that his own complacency had completely destroyed his life. He felt utterly defeated, drowning in a deep ocean of regret, wondering if he could ever reclaim the magic he once possessed. Seeking solace, he wandered into a dusty, forgotten part of town and stumbled upon a tiny, humble woodworking shop tucked away quietly. Inside, an old artisan with silver hair and deeply wrinkled hands was meticulously carving a beautiful wooden chair with absolute, pure devotion. Daniel stood quietly by the door, watching the old man work with a level of focus and passion he had completely forgotten. The old master finally noticed him, offering a warm, knowing smile before inviting the broken young man inside for warm tea. Daniel poured his heart out, confessing his rapid rise to immense wealth and his subsequent humiliating fall into laziness and total ruin. The wise artisan listened patiently, gently running his calloused fingers over a rough piece of raw timber before finally speaking his truth. He looked Daniel right in the eyes and said that talent is merely the wood, but true discipline is the master carpenter. When the carpenter stops working hard, even the absolute finest piece of premium mahogany will eventually rot away into completely useless dust. Success is never a shiny trophy you simply place on a dusty shelf to admire for the rest of your entire life. It is a rough piece of wood that you must actively sand, polish, and care for every single day without any fail. Those profound words struck Daniel like a powerful lightning bolt, instantly shattering the remaining fragile pieces of his massive, foolish human ego, and he realized that he had treated his hard-earned success as a final destination, rather than a continuous, demanding journey of growth. With tears in his eyes, Daniel thanked the wise old master and walked out of that tiny shop as a transformed man. He made the painful but necessary decision to completely sell off his massive factory and downsize to a very small, humble garage. Gone were the expensive tailored suits and shiny luxury cars. He put his old, dusty work apron back on with immense pride. The very next morning, Daniel woke up 2 hours before dawn, feeling a familiar, exciting rush of adrenaline pumping through his veins. He picked up a simple broom and carefully swept every single inch of his new, tiny workshop, embracing the necessary hard labor. He sharpened his old chisels by hand, feeling the cold, heavy steel and reconnecting with the fundamental basics of his beloved craft. Daniel started completely from scratch, Designing a simple but incredibly elegant wooden chair, pouring all his renewed passion into the difficult process. He worked tirelessly through the night, ignoring the familiar pain in his tired hands, driven entirely by a pure, unadulterated creative joy. When the chair was finally finished, it was an absolute masterpiece, radiating a warm, undeniable soul that machines could never, ever replicate. He placed it in the window of his small shop, and it was not long before a curious passer-by stopped to admire it. The customer was so deeply moved by the exquisite quality that they immediately bought it and ordered a completely matching dining set. Word of mouth began to spread once again, but this time Daniel did not let the rising praise inflate his fragile ego. He deliberately kept his business very small, refusing to expand too quickly, ensuring he could personally inspect every single piece of furniture. He spent hours teaching young apprentices the true value of hard work, passing on the profound wisdom he learned from the master. Daniel finally understood that true wealth was not measured by bank accounts, but by the lasting quality of the work you produce. Years passed, and his small, humble workshop became legendary in the city, known exclusively for producing the finest handmade wooden furniture available. He never again forgot the harsh lesson of complacency, treating every single new day as an opportunity to improve his amazing skills. The scent of fresh pine and sawdust remained his absolute favorite perfume, a constant reminder of his incredibly difficult yet rewarding journey. He proved that while failure can easily destroy a lazy man, it can also forge a genuinely wise and unstoppable master craftsman. Talent will always open the first door, but only relentless, unwavering discipline can keep you inside the grand room of lasting success. Never let your past victories make you blind to the necessary hard work that your bright future still desperately demands from you. Thank you for watching True Life Lessons today. Stay disciplined, stay humble, and never stop crafting your own beautiful masterpiece of life.